Hello, I'm Eagle, Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 388. Hopefully, you guys have had a great weekend. I know I have. Got a great show lined up for you tonight. We've got Double Baked in the house tonight. How you guys doing? You want to tell us how you're doing, and of course, where we can find you guys?
We are doing great on this lovely Sunday evening. I can't tell you the last time I saw 11:30, so thanks for keeping me awake. But my name is Sharon Ann, and you can find us on Instagram and online at clanann.com, but also at our individual handles at Sharon Ann Husbands and
at Carol Ann. Right?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Well, I believe we're forgetting
Carol Ann and Sharon Ann. You can see behind us, we have a cutout of the other personas.
So these two have been performing in drag for a long time together in all kinds of venues. And so a couple years ago, I reached out to my niece and nephew, Joel and Jen of North Star Genetics, and said, I think I'm ready to start. And so Joel sent me some stuff, and I don't know. And then we got locked down, and I said, okay, well, we're going to grow serious now. And I planted banana cheesecake, and next thing I know, we're making butter and we're selling cookies. This is magic the way it happened.
Nice.
Thanks, Joel and Jen.
Yeah, they are great folks. They have helped me out around here quite a bit and getting things going and spreading out some genetics around the community. And as far as, for a long time now, putting some fire genetics into the community, I have nothing but great things to say about Joel and Jen, for sure. So usually we get to find out about cannabis and what led people to their cannabis journey. So you guys want to tell me ultimately when you started cannabis and what ultimately drew you to the plant?
Wow. So I think I first encountered cannabis in 7th grade, and man, did I build a mean dam in the stream that day. And I knew that I had big things in front of me. And then in my freshman year in college, I saw the Grateful Dead for the first time. 125 shows later, I'm still here.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I write comedy. It helps me be more creative. It loosens me up and, lets me see other opportunities. And wow, we promote it.
Yeah, absolutely. My story is a little different. I didn't start smoking until college, and even in college, I didn't do it a whole lot. But then, I don't know what, 25, 26, it was the flip. I left alcohol behind and I jumped onto cannabis, and I haven't gone back.
And for me, I'm retired now, so this is what I'm doing in retirement. So I started smoking in this probably the really early 70s when I was really young, and always wanted to grow, always wanted to grow. And maybe how many years ago? 18 years ago.
Yeah.
I planted some in the farmer's field, a whole row in the farmer's field. I pulled up a row of corn and planted a row of pot of plants that I had sex in the basement. I bought an Ed Rosenthal book, and I was doing it. And actually, I grew a lot of pot that year, but of course, it was all trash. And then we didn't smoke pot for maybe 15 years.
No, 8.
8 years? Okay. Well, anyway, we're potheads again. But I really love growing it. And I see your grow tents back there. What do you have back there?
Oh, I'm currently right behind me. I have in the front row here, I have a strain that is called Xmas. It's pretty much that piney strain that we remember from like that, early 90s era there, when we'd get a hold of some pines around that Christmas time. And then behind that, I have the Tiger King is back there. It was a strain that White Feather Grows sent me, and I had to drop it. I had to see what the Tiger King was about. And it's been a beast, to be honest with you. That thing took off and it has yet just stopped. It's just bushed and bushed and bushed out. So that's what's going right back there. I believe right here I have a little bit of a 6-shooter from Empire Breeding Co. Uh, Basically what you see, here behind me. But yeah, all new, all new. So I have yet to even sample any of the above. So I'm looking forward to it. I like when you get the new ones in the garden. You don't necessarily know what you're gonna get. The trim I absolutely love. At that point, like I said, you don't know what you're gonna get. So you're like scraping the scissors for every little bit of charas or scissor hash you can get, so you can get that sample of what you got there. And then the anticipation alone will kill you, I think, sometimes, growing all new strains. So I mean, do you guys remember what kind of strains that you were smoking on there when you first started smoking?
Well, it was always junk.
Oh my
dirt
God.
weed.
I started smoking in the 70s, and it was brown weed from Mexico or
Right.
something,
They're
right?
still
And
pressing the
often
block.
it was like compressed so much, and you had to like pick at it with your fingers to loosen it up. And when you smoked it, it tastes like dirt, right?
Yeah, dirt weed.
That was, you're in 7th grade, man. You're like, wow.
So yeah, like 3 or 4 years ago when I reached out to Joe and he sent some seed and we grew it, it was like, oh my God, I don't remember this. The plants were like powerful, it was a whole different world. So I've had banana cheesecake alive for, I don't know, 3 years, the mother alive, just planting that plant. And it's just a beautiful plant every time I do it.
So I'm curious to know, how much you of course the smoke was different. You know what I mean? Maybe perhaps a little bit stronger from when you initially grew, but how was the plant structure? I'm curious to know from that row in the cornfield versus, the stuff that he dropped you a few years ago.
Yeah, that row in the cornfield, I grew them in solo cups, which is 16-ounce cups. Put a hole in the bottom and put the seeds in there. Sex them all under fluorescent lights in the basement, so they weren't very strong. But I did get females out there, and I probably put 50 or 60 plants out in a row, and I definitely got a hedge that grew every bit as tall as the corn. So where the corn got a lot of water, or it was in a low area that had water, if it got 6 or 7 foot tall, that's how tall the weed was. But there was a lot of hermaphrodite branches, a lot of that kind of thing going on. Even though they were sexed, there was still a lot of seed ended up in there.
Right.
Oh, that's out of their joint.
So as you guys progressed there, I mean, was it an instant draw? I mean, was it one of those things that, some people say they don't even, necessarily get high or medicated that first round? Was that true to you guys, or, did you guys run with it after that? Was it one of those things where you smoked it and you're like, yeah, this is right. This is right. This has got to be.
Definitely.
I could never really handle alcohol too much. Pot I could do.
It's always been my choice of weapons myself, as far as things to kind of relax with. I haven't drank in a very long time, and I'm glad that cannabis won that war, to be honest with you, because alcohol always led to bad things for me. But I've always managed to keep my sanity and do the right thing with cannabis. That's for sure. So, what kind of terps do you guys enjoy? What type of cannabis do you guys prefer? Indica, sativas, uh, as far as that goes, and the flavors. I'm curious about as well.
So I thought that I always would just prefer indica, just stinky, put you in the couch and just forget about it. That's what I was looking for. And then Joel and Jen introduced us to some sativas and some really nice hybrids. And wow, I have a different respect for that, for day weed. You know, like go out and do a project and get some shit done. That's really sort of broadband marijuana. You know,
That was like the jungle fruit was like that.
oh my god,
It
jungle
was
fruit.
very creative, and you could just do stuff. You didn't get all
Mhm.
sleepy.
You know, that one made you laugh though, uncontrollably.
So, as far as flavors, is there any in certain flavors that you guys prefer? Pines, the lemons, the gas, the earthy tones.
Well, we just did a
Everybody's got
feta that really has a. I don't know what did you say it was dank,
It's
Jerry?
like dank.
To me, it tastes like gasoline. So I don't know.
Yeah, the lemony ones are very nice, right? Like you had some of that earlier
Yeah.
today, and it's a nice flavor.
What ended up happening for probably to a lot of people, it happened to us was, you know, most all the weed that we had grew in the summer is gone. So we're down to one strain, and we've been smoking the same strain for a while now. So now we just, the new stuff that we grew and budded some out and kept some for mothers and, you know, regrowing that, taking out a flower and regrowing that to be mothers. Now, so we budded some, so now we're trying some new stuff. So that's really exciting. So we just tried some feta. We tried some
Big City Lights.
Big City Lights. We tried some, what else? The Zest and Gray Skull.
Yeah, we haven't tried Grayskull yet.
So that's kind of exciting. You know, you grow it, you know how long it takes to grow it, and then you wait and you wait and you wait for that flavor to get to taste that first taste of it.
Oh, I ran that Zest. That was a nice strain right there. That was a nice strain. Fruity,
Yeah.
very nice color and flower there. Very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. So, so when you guys think about your use today, do you think that would you say it's recreational use, or would you say it's medical use? And if you kind of agree it's on the medical side of things, I'm kind of curious what changed it in your opinion. You know what I mean? What was that aha kind of moment where you were like, you know, this isn't just a get high type thing, that you know, it does have a little medical value.
Yeah, so I have a real world story that handles that. So it was always recreational for me, and I'm gearing up for a knee replacement in 8 days. And what I have found is some strains of weed help this pain, like nothing that the doctor could prescribe, like nothing over the counter. It settles it down. But really, like we've been working on tinctures and the medicinal qualities there for pain killing. And wow, like, you know, you can talk to people about that would never ever smoke a joint. They're like, you got to tell me more about that, because you know it's not taking medications that drug companies are putting together. You know, you're just using nature.
We were discussing that just last night, to be honest with you, how underrated salves and creams were as far as the medical benefits with cannabis go. And they have a whole lot of tinctures, creams, I even edibles, you know. For me, you know, edibles they can be a nice curve depending on how you want to ride them, I guess. Uh, it's for me, if I go too heavy and get that, you know, I can get pretty messed up on edibles. And I kind of enjoy that, to be honest with you. But it's only one day. I can only find that comfort in like that first day. And then the second day is like that kind of couch hangover, but you know, I still enjoy a few good edibles, and I'm feeling I think that's almost like a healing phase at that point. Day 3, same amount of edibles. Man, the joints are all loose. I'm fucking ready to get some work done. It's like, you know, somebody's went through and oiled up all the joints and fucking. So man, edibles, if I can actually keep them in the house, are man a great way to to keep the pain at bay. That's for sure. For sure. So what made you guys venture into, was it just recently, just with the tinctures and stuff like that? I mean, when did you get curious on, actually, making edibles and tinctures and stuff like that?
Yeah, so
So we were doing the butter and we were making cookies.
We've been making butter and making all different kind of cookies with the butter. And I don't know. I think we were just doing some research about it. We're like, let's give this a shot. Like, oh my God, when we read about it, we're like, doesn't take a brilliant person to make it. Like we can throw these tinctures together. Did it with a couple different varieties, noticed different effects from each one. It was really cool. Really, it just started as experiment. And then I'm like, holy crap, my knee pain is gone, man.
Has there been any one strain? That's what I was kind of gearing to when I was asking which guys you preferred, because I'm sure as you progress with the butter and making cookies and edibles and stuff, you're gonna wind it down or have to split it up into like an indica sativa or maybe a fine mix. Nail down a couple strains you really enjoy working with, and maybe even mix the 2 or 3 strains into a special mix. You know what I mean? That you guys have made your own.
Right now, we've been very successful with banana cheesecake, and it seems to be a plant that grows really well for us. It's easy to clean, which is huge, of course.
It's super easy to trim.
And this thing came up. I saw it on Facebook that the Cannabis Festival was going to be in our area. So I said, what can we do here? So those two are drag queens. They've been performing together for a while. So Jerry said, well, let's sell recipe cards on how we make our cannabis cookies. So we made these cards up with the recipes on them. And to the card, we stapled a sample cookie, which was the cookie was for free, but we charged $5 for the card. So we sold like 1,400 cookies in 2 days. It was like,
we sold 1,400 cards
in 2 days. So it's a no-brainer. Yeah. Thank you, Jerry. It's a no-brainer. Plus, it was so much fun. We were so high. We just had edibles all day long. We shared a booth with a seed guy. We just carried on and sold cookies all day and got everybody so fucked up.
We sold cards.
That's people so fucked up. It was so much fun. I haven't had that much fun in a long time.
I love cannabis events, man, like that. To be honest with you, I High Times at one point had a cup here in Michigan, and they have it at the Clio Speedway. And so they had like the vendors all around, and then for some reason they thought this year we're going to have an edible village in the center. And that was one of the best cups, by the way. So you go into Edible Village, and there was, vendors standing there, just trays. It almost seemed like a psychedelic Willy Wonka. Yeah, come on, yeah. And you're just kind of wandering through, just taking everything, of course, and freebies. They're edible. Why not? And man, I remember wandering around in that Edible Village there for about an hour and a half. And then we decided on, we really liked, certain things. Some of these gummies were good and some of this. And man, we wandered around after all that shit kicked in and ultimately never fucking found anything that we liked because we were so fucked up. It was at that point, it was really psychedelic and kind of we wandered around in there for hours, just like, where did it go? This place ain't that big. I came back the next day and was like, oh, right there. Yeah, there, clearing that in. But yeah, man, them edibles can tear you up. But that was an awesome day, man. I do overindulge with some edibles, to be honest with you. It's a good ride.
I enjoy that.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
have you ever have you ever took it to like a psychedelic phase in your recipe making? To be honest with you, I mean, when you're making edibles and butter, I'll let you guys go first, but I'll share my butter story. But as you go through your recipe, you tend to, overindulge in one or two batches, found yourself just laced on the couch. How many times have you guys ever made it to like, where it's psychedelic and you almost like seen shit? It was almost like a good
Yeah,
mushroom ride almost.
the first time we ever made edibles had to have been like, I don't know, 1999, 2000, somewhere around there. And we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. So we had a bunch of excess weed. So we just crushed up about a quarter pound of weed and put it into a tray of brownies and baked it just like that. And then we each ate a big brownie. And let me tell you, I saw Jesus that night a couple times. And laid with my phone on my chest thinking, if I lose consciousness, I hope the last thing I do is hit 911 because what the fuck is happening here? I think you melted just down the steps that night. It was out. Oh my God.
I thought I was going to throw up. I wasn't going to make it to the bathroom, which was the next room over. I didn't think I could make it there, and I was going to throw up. I was so fucked up. So anyway,
It tasted like hay.
We didn't know we were doing. We've been making butter. We had no way of knowing how strong our butter is. We don't test it where we're at. We haven't just started doing this within the past year, so we didn't know what we're doing. But apparently, our cookies were a lot stronger than we thought they were.
Yeah, so we actually gave one to a friend of mine who went to, hang out with this lady. They went to have some fun time, I guess. Well, I gave them the cookie and said, listen, don't eat more than half if you're not, a casual smoker. Well, she ate 3/4 of the thing of the whole thing and ended up going to the emergency room that night because she couldn't handle it. Was freaking out, hyperventilating and the whole nine. And it was, we laugh about it now, that's for sure. But
Does she?
that's a great question. So we labeled the ginger snaps now as the ER cookies as code.
Would you like an ER journey? Here you are.
It's funny. Are they actually still called ER cookies?
The bin that he keeps them in is labeled ER trip?
ER visit.
ER visit. So we keep showing people, are you sure? Are you sure? They were sure.
Yeah.
Me, man, I did take it to a psychedelic kind of experience one time with the edibles there. Very naive. With one of I just bought me a magical butter machine. I believe it was like my second go in at it. And I just, stupidity. Keep in mind now, when I tell this story, because it's all home use. You know what I mean? It's all strictly home use. And I like potent butter anyway. Every batch I had made prior had always been super strong. I've always been trying to get the experience that it led up to. And so I make a nice batch of butter. I'm using 10 grams per stick of butter, which is super strong. Nice bud too. And then I put it in the machine. I let it do its thing. And I'm straining it out through the cheesecloth. And I don't even think about, butter being almost like a lotion or oil or whatever. And I let it strain, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, there's still a lot in there. You know what I mean? There's no way so I just grabbed that cheesecloth and I just start squeezing the shit out of it and just squeezing it. And then I'm not even thinking about how strong the butter is or the fact that it could be soaking into my skin. And again, it's just I'm squeezing the hell out of it. It's rolling down the back of my hands, down my arms. I'm going at it a few minutes now. I'm like, I'm not giving up. I'm just giving her all I got. And then, I clean up, and then, I've got my butter aside, and I decide I'm going to make some cookies. I don't dilute the butter at all, and it's really strong. Make me a nice batch of cookies. So that gives me about 45 minutes, and it starts, I feel it a little bit. I don't, I've already been smoking all day. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily associate a nice buzz coming on. And I make some cookies, and I throw in some mint chips in there. And the mint chips totally hide that cannabis taste, and they made them taste like Thin Mint cookies. I've never, if you can imagine like a Girl Scout Thin Mint cookie coming straight out of the oven, oh, yeah. So they come out of the oven, and unbeknownst to me, I'm like 6 cookies in again before I even think about what I'm doing. And I realized about 6 cookies in, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna quit. So I just kind of stopped, put everything away, uh, smoke one more joint. Oof, it's now hit me pretty good. I'm gonna lay down. I lay down for a little while. I get up like 2 hours later, and I am high as shit, full kind of hallucination. I get up in that like so surreal feeling. I feel like I'm not even awake. My head feels like it's like 10 feet above my body. I'm like, oh shit, I ain't never been this high on weed. And I go in, I pop in the shower, and I'm just in there fucking all of a sudden that scene from Young Guns where they fucking chasing around and you see that chicken? And I don't know why, but that just does it for me. I fucking lose it. I'm in the shower now. Fucking about 45 minutes. My kids are downstairs and older. They come up there like knocking on the door. Are you all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. Man, that shit carried on. Having to almost like bite your cheek, you just feel that gut roll coming on for about 4 hours. And I've never been able, I wish that somehow I could figure out that milligram to whatever I did. But man, some people would probably say that was a bad ride. But I'd love to figure out the combination of how I did what I did to get there. It was pretty good, mistakenly, but it was a good time. Lessons were learned. I gloved up next ball I squeezed. That's for sure, man. It was terrible. It was terrible. I would never do that again. It was, well, I don't know. It was pretty decent. High buzz, I guess. I don't know how to properly describe that, but I was well medicated that night. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man. So how many varieties of cookies do you guys make, or edibles? Is it just edibles? You guys do tinctures as well? Have you ventured off into tinctures?
Well, we just got into the tincture, so we just started making those. We're gonna make some tomorrow, with some of the other varieties now.
But for like the Cannabis, the cookies, just cookies, 5 flavors, because it's a really fast-paced thing. You're just passing things across the counter constantly, and they're just acting crazy and silly the whole time, and have a crowd around the booth the whole time.
Nice,
I think people first looked at us as an oddity, like, what the fuck is that? those are dudes. And then they came over and we were funny and we made them laugh, and I don't know. It was a really cool day. So we had 5 cookies that had cards with them that we made postcards for. And we just like searched Paula Deen recipes because Paula Deen loves butter. Like any Paula Deen recipe has tons of butter in it. Right?
Yeah. So we got one of her cake cookie recipes and just made it our own. Changed it up a little bit and got 5 different flavors and 2 huge body-sized coolers and went to the Canna Festival with 2,000. What did we have? Like 2,200 cookies.
Yeah.
We spread a lot of joy.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. So if they were in your area and trying to find some cards, how could they get a hold of you?
So they can go to clanann.com. CLANANN.com.
Yeah, or you just follow us on social media.
Yeah, social media.
Connect with us on social media. If you're watching the, say that you were watching this, and and put that in the message so that we know who you are.
Yeah.
Cool.
Where can they catch the show if they want to catch the show? I'm curious.
Oh, cool. So we know we're doing the next Pennsylvania Canna Fest October 2nd and 3rd. And my friend here is working on a couple other dates because there's some in Jersey and there's some in New York as well. Tim's the only one who works for a living. So our schedule base is based on when he can get off. Because, you need
Somebody's got
two beauties. Look at them back there.
Well, somebody's got to grow the cannabis. Okay. Somebody's got to grow the cannabis for the cookies, right?
Right. Exactly.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. Hopefully you guys do stay busy and are able to, get the word out about your cookies. And have you guys thought about doing a YouTube channel as well?
We have one. YouTube.com/ClanAnn.
Yes.
So Jerry and I also have another business, Whoosh Skincare, that we've had for how many years now, Jerry?
18 years.
So during this pandemic, Carol Ann made commercials for Whoosh, and we actually grew our business quite a bit by Carol Ann doing commercials for our business. And these commercials are also on that channel.
Yeah, that was the entire beginning part of our YouTube channel. We credit to Jungle Fruit. Tim would come over, we would smoke bushels of jungle fruit and be so silly and then just shoot videos.
We sold a lot of soap.
Yeah, we did. It really was a fun promotion. Whatever. Drag queens are hot right now. Everybody wants.
I love my mods this chat, man. As soon as I asked you guys, about the YouTube channel and everything, they had already had the links. As you were saying it, they had already had the links in chat. I looked over it. I was like, oh, I guess that was a silly question. Seeing how the links are already right there in chat, I should have looked before I asked. But thank you, mods, Jason Eystone. I greatly appreciate it. So what kind of medium do you grow in? And can I ask that? You guys organic growers?
Outside, just outside organic. No, not outside. I use fertilizer, not necessarily organic fertilizer. Outside, I grow in the house as well. And this year I've learned I delved into hydroponics. Hooked up with a hydroponic guy in our area, and I've been doing deep water right now. I have a lot of things in deep water. I also have a ebb and flow table that's full right now. I have some wedding cake on there and a lot of banana cheesecake on there. And we have a separate room for flowering. So we're trying to do it. Right now, the problem is I have like a Noah's Ark complex where I have like 8 or 9 different varieties trying to grow everything in this space. And it's just too much. So, learning lessons the hard way.
Lessons learned nonetheless.
Oh, yeah.
We learned that we have a lot to learn. But that there's definitely so many people willing to help and it's been great. First and foremost, Joel and Jen have been huge helps for us.
What are you guys smoking on now? If you don't mind me asking.
What is it, Jerry?
I think that's banana cheesecake.
Banana cheesecake, yeah.
How about you?
Smoking a little twisted TK. Again, a sample that I was sent. Pretty good. It's kind of weird. This one in particular, I don't know what it is. The other one was like more fuely, but I don't know. These cameras never give you a good shot of it.
Mm.
But I'll try anyway. This stuff, it tastes really good. It's got this it's almost like a juicy fruit, but it's not fruit though. I mean, it's kind of fruity to a point, but then it's got like this weird like habanero almost aftertaste to it. I don't know how to describe it, but it's got like this spiciness on the back end. It almost tastes like the aftertaste of a habanero. And I find it to be delicious, to be honest with you. I don't know what it is between the fruity and that spicy kind of thing, but it's delicious. I really enjoy it. So, how how long has Carol Ann been going? Uh, uh, I'm curious. Tell me. Tell me more.
Carol
Tell me
Ann, since 1999.
more. Nice.
So-
And Double Baked, the team. It's
The team together, when were you a senior?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
That's Clan Ann.
Yeah.
And Double Baked is just, we just came up with that for this business.
Yeah.
Double Baked is new, but we've been performing together since 2011. So it's been a fun ride so far.
Yeah, it has.
And the cannabis detour is
So-
just begun.
Oh my God, right. You know, so we have this reputation as pothead drag queens. So we perform a lot in Philly, and we'll be walking around in Philadelphia, and people will walk up and go, "Oh, you queens. Jesus, you two smell like weed." We're like, hey, we're the weed queens. What are you gonna do? Mostly her.
I mean, I'd rather smell like that. What about when we were so high at the bar in Philly and we lit my purse on fire?
That happened.
We had the bartender.
Dabbing?
Excuse
Was
me.
it a dabbing accident?
No.
No. A poorly placed candle and a plastic purse from China.
Yeah.
All right.
Needless to
All
say,
right.
the candle went right up in flames.
Yeah, I assume dab because I don't know for what it is the way people dab. I'm surprised I don't hear more dabbing accidents, to be honest. Because of the torch and shit. You know, that's why I asked. And again, I could see the plastic going up really quick with the dab torch.
I was dabbing this weekend, and this kid that was in our group, this kid, he's my age, he's 29, 30, I don't know. But he, doesn't smoke a lot at all. And we were all just dabbing because we're all casual smokers, and they pass it to him and he just hit it like a champ. And I was like, he started coughing, and I was like, do you smoke a lot? And he's like, no, I never smoke. I was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. You're about to be on another fucking planet. And literally within 20 minutes, he was rocking back and forth. He literally looked me in the face. I don't remember where exactly, where he's from, but Central American country. So speaks Spanish. That's his first language. And he literally is looking around at the circle, and he goes, in 2 minutes, I'm not going to be able to speak English anymore. So, and I'm like, how do you know that? And he's like, I just feel it. Like, I'm not. And then luckily, then literally in a couple minutes, he wasn't speaking English anymore. He was only talking Spanish to the other two speaking, the Spanish speakers, and they were like translating. It was like that episode of I Love Lucy. Just go down the fucking chain. So it was pretty funny. And then we tucked him into bed. Obviously, that was it for him.
what has one of your favorite events been that you guys have been to so far?
Cannabis related?
Either or, both.
Well, tell them about the.
So cannabis related, the one we just did is the only one we've done, and you know the experience was just amazing. Like,
But you guys performed in a synagogue.
Yeah.
from a performance standpoint, we've had some pretty cool gigs in the last couple of years. 2019 was World Pride in New York City, which was a big deal, and we got invited to perform. We performed like at a block party in Manhattan, which is pretty neat. And yeah, we're regulars on the synagogue circuit of northeastern Pennsylvania, which is fun, right?
Yeah, it's great fun. I think, and then one like our favorite bar spot probably to perform, I think, is the Lafayette Bar. It's a bar in Easton, Pennsylvania. And we were so ripped after a show. Caroline was making powder angels and the makeup powder on the floor in the back in her brown panties. It was quite the sight.
I still think you make that up.
No, I didn't. Just like I made up the parrot thing.
Yeah.
So, how was the response at the first cannabis event? I mean, was it encouraging enough that it will be something that you do more often? And you know, it's a tough question, I guess. I'm curious. Excuse.
We're definitely doing it again. I think that it was very welcoming. It was fun. You had mostly everybody was walking by laughing, and having some kind of interaction with us. There were a couple people that walked by and they were like, "What the fuck is that?" And but they didn't come by. They didn't bother us. It wasn't like they were mean, but you could tell that they were mildly afraid.
I think some people just were so taken by surprise, like, what is in that tent? You know, we had a big space. We had a 20 by 25 foot space, you know, so we had this really big space. And wow, like, you know.
So right, a 20 by 25 foot space for $400 at a Cannabis. Yeah, how can you go wrong? We brought two pop-up beds, a 10 by 20 and a 10 by 10, and put them together. And we had a back room that we could process cookies and cards together, and they could have costuming. It was a sweet setup.
Sounds like overall you guys did well. I mean, 2,200 cookies. I mean, that's plus a chance to just get you guys' name out there, as well as an advertising standpoint, goal.
And just to see what the market's like out there, what people like, what they're interested in, what they want to buy. Because we didn't know.
People were so cool. The whole situation was so cool. The other vendors were great. We met so many vendors, but at some point they had to come to our booth to talk to us, because by midday, the second day, we were just slammed. Yeah, we were just slammed. It was amazing.
I didn't make it past the porta potty. I was only from our booth to the porta potty and back. I never even made it to buy a French fry.
Yeah, I'd like to walk around what the whole event was like.
Yeah.
Man, I hope there is just as many events as we can get this year. I know everybody's just dying to get out, and I know I'm waiting. I had one event already this year, and I, for travel reasons, didn't get to make it. But I am not missing anymore. I am not missing anymore unless we just cannot do it. I am getting out there. I love the cannabis community. It is a very open community. For sure, and I just love getting out there and spending time with people. You know what I mean? There's just something about passing a nice fat joint and being in the moment with some great folks. You know what I mean? And trying different strains. As a grower, I don't go to the dispensary much. The only time I'm up trying other different kinds of cannabis is when I'm meeting friends. Or large events like that. And that's nice to be hanging out and meeting new people and just what in the hell is this I'm smoking? You know what I mean? That's the best part of the day. If you ever have that moment, you're like, what in the hell is this? And do you have any seeds or whatever? Can I hook up and get a cut of this? Because this shit is good. You know, that's so if you could book an event in, you know, in perfect world, uh, what state is there in particular state you'd like to hit or region that you'd like to go book an event?
Yeah, we're close to New York. New York's really cool. Upstate New York is beautiful, right?
I'll go anywhere. and
Anywhere. I don't know. The East Coast has a lot of spots.
You know, a lot depends as well. Where is it legal? Where is it more legal or less legal? You know, where is there? So Jersey, New York are recreational now. Pennsylvania is not yet. So who knows?
Agree.
I haven't been out of Michigan very limited, and I'm hoping to get out myself to like Northern California this year, possibly Colorado. Never been out that way. I think that'd be pretty cool to see what the cannabis scene was like out that way myself. But man, I don't know, man. It's hard to say doing this thing this last year. I've talked to so many folks. You know, we tend to live in a bubble, basically. You know, and you don't realize the internet makes things a lot smaller. You know what I mean? You know, and this last year, man, I've met some cool people all around the world. You know, as far as realizing, you know, how huge and small the cannabis scene is, man. There, you know, now so basically, if you would have asked me a couple years ago, my them would probably been my answers right there. California, Colorado, of course. You know, top weed places so far. But man, nowadays, man, after talking to people in Canada, I talked to a gentleman from South Africa the other day, Jamaica. Man, it's hard to really nail down, you know, where I'd like to go these days, man. Cannabis would be a cool event. I've never even considered going to Cannabis, but nowadays I'm like, hell yeah, that's yeah. I might have to put that on the bucket list. That'd be a fun one as well. So, do you think you could ever see you guys as like booking yourself at like Cannabis? That'd be a fun one. I mean, you guys dream big.
The stars,
Yeah, right on, right on.
Right.
Absolutely. I'll go anywhere that there's
A party, and a
yeah,
dollar.
a crowd, a dollar, and a joint.
That's a fact too.
Yeah.
You have that written down.
Yeah, you know.
So, do you have a favorite edible other than cookies? I mean, I understand cookies is the business currently, but
Jerry
that
makes
doesn't
Jerry makes this
necessarily-
treat. It's called Ooey Gooey. That is a favorite. It's
Yeah.
another Paula Dean recipe, but it's so big, has so much butter in it that we just make it for ourselves.
Yeah, it's wicked, right?
It's like 130 milligrams.
Yeah, 127 milligrams a portion.
But it's so good. Has cream
Did Bobby
cheese
eat one?
in it.
Yes,
And,
he did. Yes, he did.
So yeah, I'd like to learn more ways to do edibles. So, you know, I've only worked with butter, but with our other business, we work with coconut oil. So I know coconut oil infuses very well too. And then that gives you more opportunities that you wouldn't use butter in. Right. We had so many people who were asking for like vegan treats and gluten-free treats, and ours were neither. They're like full of gluten and full of dairy.
Full of dairy.
So, you know, it'll be a fun time to experiment and see what else we can make and make well. It's not really just if you can make it, but you know, you got to make it well so that it hits everything. You know, our cookies have no canna flavor.
right. We have a lemon
There's
cookie with no kind of flavor.
Yeah, people were surprised that a lemon cookie could be not canna flavored. And some people say they like the flavor. I'm okay without it being there.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was kind of alluding to earlier when I asked about the YouTube channel. I could honestly see you guys, and I don't see why you don't, to be honest with you, as you expand on the edible industry. You might as well capitalize on an empty market, to be honest with you. Then, quite frankly, there's nobody fucking doing a drag cannabis cooking show.
Right?
You
Exactly.
see what I'm saying? I mean, it's a market. I don't know, you might as well, as you guys are doing your business, you might as well be learning and, maybe just teaching it as you guys go along. Today we're making this fucking edible cake, or whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if the recipe sticks and it's something that you guys like, I mean, it's a void market right there. Nobody else is doing it. And it now, I mean, as far as branding, you guys talk about branding and shit. I mean, if you don't do it now that it's in the ether, somebody's gonna jump on that shit.
Yeah, we
You know
were
what I
definitely
mean?
the first drag queens at the Canna Festival. We won't be the last. I think
If anything, we opened the door.
we did open the door.
Yeah.
I would put some effort into that if I were you guys. That's for sure.
I like it.
And they'll build the brand as well. You know what I mean? You see the guys doing it on the YouTube there, and then you see them at the event, and then you get to sample the cookies. You get to put the edibles with the show. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a win-win, really.
Right.
Constant marketing.
Right.
It's a great idea.
We can do it.
Yeah, see that kitchen back there? That'll be the set. So
Right.
You got to start somewhere. You got to start the dream somewhere. It's
That's
only
right.
up from here, right? That's the way I see it. I've had many a tough days doing this, man. A lot of canceled guests. You just got to tuck and roll and keep doing it. That's what built this show. And I've had a lot of fails, and I just show up every night and do what I do, and it's all worked out, man. 388 episodes as far as tonight in a row. Well, I've had a couple days off here in a row, but this is all within a year, shortly after a year. I started this adventure in March 25th of last year. So this is 388 episodes
Wow.
since that point. Since that point.
That's pretty cool.
388.
So, do you see yourselves bringing in any new strains in the garden?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there anything on the drop list?
Oh, we have Trainwreck, Alien, Gorilla Glue. What else do we have?
Amnesia Kush.
All the ones
Yeah.
Joel sent. Big City Lights. Yeah, we don't know what's going to stick. It depends on what clones easily what goes outside. I'm kind of new at this, so I know that the cheesecake worked really well. So we'll be putting a lot of that out for sure. But we'll see. So this year, something happened this year for us, where we're able to get seed through the mail. So I can buy feminized seed through the mail, or I can go to my local hydroponic store and get feminized seed. So, which means I can choose this year not to have mothers alive in my house all year long that I have to keep alive, and therefore can't have people in my basement do work and all that other nonsense, and can't go on vacation. So what I might just do is let everything just go and just figure out and just start with plant all seed outside, all feminized seed outside. Just to have a seed and then have to sex it and then bring it back from flowering to growing again and then take clones from it. That process takes a while. And you don't always get the strongest plants. But if you started from a seed and it's guaranteed female, that's a strong plant. I mean, I'm pretty new at this, but that's what I'm sort of picking up so far. That if I put it outside, it started from seed inside, grow it inside for whatever, a month, and put it outside as a seedling, it's going to be much easier for me to do that than to have a mother alive all year long, take clones from it, keep it healthy enough to get enough clones from it, get the clones going. That's a lot of work.
For me, the only flaw I kind of see in that is the edible standpoint, to be honest with you, and the consistency of, being able to put out a constant product. Like, say, right now, you're pretty set on with the strain that you've got there, the banana cheesecake. Uh, you know what it's like, you know what the effects are going to be like. So you know, you can work with that. Now if you're popping femmes with it, they're going to be somewhat similar, yay but nay. You know what I mean? You all have that consistency with a clone, and you will keep some bigger. But if you go fem every time, there will be some ups and downs with the phenos that you get. That's one of my, I've been on beating that drum for a long time now. It's because that's what you would think you would expect from fems. Really, is like a clone like experience. Ever you pop them, they're all going to be the same, but it's not the way it works. Breeders aren't working like that. There's certain breeders that are taking the time. You can get some consistency like that, or more often these days, if you pop some femmes, you are gonna have a few different phenos. It's not gonna be clone like. So that's something that I would keep in mind as far as wanting to put out like a edible product. You'll want to keep, whatever you're working with, and then maybe try to find something similar in testing. And even at that, the cannabinoids, the terps, the flavoring will play a part in that as well. That's why it's so hard to be nailed down as a medicine right now, because there's so much variation from plant to plant, pheno to pheno. So, there's, as somebody that, if I were making edibles, I would definitely have one or two that I just love that, I found were great. They produce a lot of good oils. They were good for his knee. You know what I mean? You found that, you've already found that that one is good for pain in particular. Now, maybe, work that same recipe with the new strain and see if it, like a sativa version, an indica sativa version, a day and a night of that same cookie. That's, but I would definitely, keep that one strain aside, at least if you're going to clean out the garden, at least pass a
Hold on to
couple of
it on
cuts or somebody, while you take your vacation and come back. Hey, can I have a cut of that back? Firing up the garden again. Can I get a slice of that back? I would surely appreciate it. There's ways around it, but I would definitely want some type of consistency. And and again, you may find that breeder to where you do get that consistency, but it may be tough. To me, when I use the femmes, I only use them for like blank spots where I have no room for the gamble. To be honest with you, I've got three open spots in my limited plant count, and I don't have time to waste to see whatever. I'm throwing three thumbs down. I'm throwing three thumbs down. I don't care if I'm going to take any clones down. It's good. That's where I tend to use the thumbs myself. But that's the beauty of cannabis, is once you find the ones that work for you, you treat them good. Yeah, it'll be there for the rest of your life. There's the saying, you get the right cut, the right strain, it changed your life. Buy a house. It's very, it's very true.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh, so let me see here. Where so I gotta ask you, you know, that point where it turned from rec to medical, but I mean, as this is why I've asked too, and maybe I know the main cultivar grower is not with us, but you know, for as far there he is, as far
Hey.
as for me, the recreational and medical thing kind of really changed. You know, at one point I kind of felt that, you know, cannabis as a medicine. But for me, once I actually started growing the plant, cultivating it, that's when I actually noticed the medical side of it, to be honest with you. You know, that's where, you know, the plant actually took on a whole new meaning for me. It wasn't something I just purchased at a store, but it was
Mhm.
a greater journey, to be honest with you. So that's when I ask that question, you know, that's tend to be that turning point. You know, some people will realize it early on as far as the way it makes them feel, but it tends to be that point a lot of times. You know, the growing aspect of it. It's when
I
you
love
realize,
growing
wow,
it. You know,
this is
we
truly
just grew
medical.
it and we processed it to butter, and then it was farm to table, completely farm to table. We just did it. It was like such an experience. It felt like this is the way it's supposed to be. Should have been doing this for so long. We could have been doing this for years.
And
It's
that's, you know,
crazy.
and it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great feeling. I encourage everybody to be throwing some seeds in the ground. You know, it is, you know, there's no reason to be even paying for it anymore. You know, it's overgrow, you know what I mean? And it is a great experience cultivating the plant.
Yes.
So do you prefer indoors or outdoors? Let me ask you that. Would you, you know, in a perfect world, prefer to be growing indoors or out?
I would grow outdoors, and in the winter I would grow indoors.
Right on.
You
So
I
know,
do you
think
grow indoors now? I believe did I
yeah,
ask that?
yeah, it's going now. Yeah.
What do you got going there for lights? Do you mind me asking? What's it look like? What is the room like?
So what are the we have two big lights, sodium lights. They're 1200 watts each. I have a bunch of small LEDs, maybe 13 or 15 of those. Two rooms, so I have a grow room and a flower room. I have a flood table, bunch of deep water buckets, maybe 10 or 12 of them. Some stuff in cloth buckets. My mother's in cloth buckets.
I think one thing that you'll notice, especially if you go stay to the edible side of the business there, that the LEDs would be your friend. You know, I've grown some fire strains, and I have the high pressure sodiums back here,
Yes.
and they do well. And I have the LEDs back around the corner there, and I can run the same strain from one to the other, and that strain under the LEDs every time is more oily, more fatter trichomes, more dense
Wow.
buds. And I would think that to be, you know, a plus, you know, as far as if I were going to turn it into
I would have
edibles and
never thought
butter.
that. I would have thought you
Oh
had
yeah.
to flour them under under the sodium, under the big lights.
And oh, them LEDs are definitely coming. You know, they are surpassed in my opinion. The only thing that are keeping these ones in my garden right now, to be truthful with you, is they're still working, and I'm that cheap.
So what kind of LED you have some special kind of LED? Are you pushing one company or another, or you just,
Nah, you know, and again, you know, got a decent light over here, the Active Grow 660, which is an 8 bar system. You know, it does good. I've got the Mars Hydros. I
uh-huh,
got cheap lights over here, and all of them are actually producing great bud. To be honest with you,
great,
and to be honest, I'm an advocate of the mid grade light with you. I mean, especially at a beginner phase. You know,
right.
one of like the bigger light like I've got here, the 8 bar 660, it's a great light 4x4, it could, it crushes, but
Right.
there's a learning curve there with it. But for the same amount of money that you'll put out there for the 4x4 or 5x5 tops, you can go out and buy like three of the mid-grade lights. I'm not gonna say names, but they're decent lights. I've already said them. I've already said them. I'm not selling them. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you can get three of those and have pocket change to buy the tent, and you're still under the cost of that one big banger light. And now you're growing a 4x8 and of quality bud, and you've increased your canopy size a lot and saved a lot of cash. And and there's still room to move up. You could always, as take them lights out and put in a more expensive light and use them for veg or whatever as your cannabis journey grows there. But man,
Sure.
yeah, there's the mid-grade lights. They're not like they were 10 years ago,
Right.
where they were cheap and they were advertised wrong and all that good shit, man. Most of them now are the same diodes that they're putting in the more expensive light. It's just the more expensive light has more advertising, more this, that, a little bit better driver. I'm sure there are pluses and minuses, but if budget is a factor, there's no harm, no foul in the mid grades right now, for sure. They could compete every bit as well as these big lights back here, for sure. And that's the scary thing about it is, back here in this 4x8, there's, if I were to plug them into 110, I'd be pulling almost 30 amps out of the wall, because I'm running 220. They're running closer to 17. Now that same 10 over there, that 4x8 with the LEDs cheapos in there, 6 amps. 6 amps. You know what I mean? The cost of factor there,
Right. And heat.
all that
Heat's a
shit.
big factor
Yeah.
for me because I'm in a low ceiling.
Yeah, well, that's and again, LEDs are happier. That's a nice thing too. You switch over to the LED side. The plant canopy actually likes it at 85. They're trying to tell you with these, 70 to 80, 75's that sweet spot. Well, now you switch over to the LED. Now you're taking again some of that cool factor out of there. You're sweating about keeping that room cool. They like it a little bit hotter, man. There's a lot of pluses to the LED side of things. It sounds like you're already there. You're leaning heavier towards the LED side of things already.
Yeah. Well, it was one thing in the winter when it was cold, but now that it's hot, having those big lights, they just produce so much heat.
Yeah, I'd almost shut them off and just try the LEDs there. Insane. So how you guys hanging in as far as the episode goes? I do remember in the beginning 11:30 was late and hasn't seen it that far. I just caught a yawn, so it's fair enough to ask. Fair enough to ask.
Yeah.
Tim has to work tomorrow.
Well, guys, I do appreciate your time and coming on. You have bought the community another night of hanging out, and I greatly appreciate that,
Yeah,
for
it's
It's
sure.
been a pleasure.
Really,
It's fun.
definitely fun.
Definitely fun
Right
hanging
on.
out with you.
Well, and this is I told you in the beginning that it's a little hard for me to kind of get the rhythm going with a multi-person session. But in the same aspect, this is, I guess, where it comes back and I kind of get the he kind of back, where I kind of flip it on you guys a little bit. So I gotta ask you guys for the soundbite. And so basically the soundbite is the commercial for you guys' episode. So basically, I don't know how you guys want to do it. If you guys want to put it all in the one as double baked, but so basically, if I were to do it, and my side of things, the soundbite would sound something like this. It'd say, hey, I'm Eagle Gardens, and I'm on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 388. You can put on, join us check out our Instagram. You can put out whatever you want on top of it, in front of it, as long as you guys got the body of it, which is we're on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 388. That's why I'm giggling, because just as hard as it is to interview three gentlemen, it is hard to sync three gentlemen together on a soundbite. So that's why I was kind of like, hey, this is where it flips back a little bit. But it's funny. It's always entertaining to see the group soundbite.
All right, we're gonna nail this.
What episode again was it?
388.
388. Okay.
With Eagle.
Let me put it up here.
No, just with Eagle.
With Eagle
Episode.
in episode
we'll get our shit together.
388.
Oh, you guys are already better than most. Most of them just like shoot. All right, we're
Okay, so should we? What do you want? Hey, I'm Sharon. I'm Caroline.
Yeah.
I'm Chuck the Grower. And you can say,
Yes.
we're on talking.
And then you can say
and I
that.
say episode 388, and then we'll go.
Okay.
You can visit our website. Okay. All right. Clear your throats.
Right.
Hey everyone, I'm Sharon Ann,
And I'm Carolan,
And I'm Chuck the Grower.
and we're on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle.
episode 388. So, hey, you can visit us at clanan.com/double date. Or come on and check us out at Instagram, Carolan_Carolan, and
Sharon and husbands. Sharon with 2 R's.
thanks for joining us.
I'm fucking speechless. You guys did nail it.
We didn't even rehearse. And we normally rehearse a little.
That was perfect. That was
Do it again.
Hey, the next time
technically perfect.
maybe you can be dry.
Seriously.
Hey,
I've
would you
done
get-
a lot of group sound bites, and they have never went with a one shot and even been that close. That was I'm seriously fucking amazed. That you guys killed it. You guys absolutely killed that sound bite. Thank you guys very much, man.
You're very welcome.
And this has been an awesome episode. And there's one other thing I'd like to tell you guys before you guys go. It's just like any other guest. This Zoom episode is open to this invite that you guys got is open to every episode that is labeled the wormhole. Anytime you guys would like to jump into the wormhole and hang out, talk cannabis, and well, it goes in all different directions. Some nights we're talking growing, some nights we're talking psychedelics, some nights we're talking psychedelics on psychedelics, and there's some nights where we kind of just venture off in kind of the conspiracy land. You know, it's wherever it takes us, and so you guys are more than welcome to join in at any time you guys see the wormhole. Come join us. So with that being said, is there anybody you'd like to give out a shout out to? Anybody you'd like to plug one last time? Your YouTube,
Yeah, we want to give a
your
shout out to
Instagram.
Joel and Jen at North
All
Star
that.
Genetics gave us our kick. Thanks, guys. Right?
That's right.
Great guys. Thank you guys very much again for coming on and buying the community another night. You guys are welcome. Come back any time that you like.
Yes,
You guys have a
thank
great
you.
night. It's
Thanks,
been a
dude.
great episode.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
No problem. You guys have a good one. Well, you guys, that does round it out for episode 388. The wormhole will be firing up here in a little bit. If you guys would like, hop on with that. You guys know the deal. Random acts of kindness do save lives. I'm a living, breathing example of that. Please do something nice for somebody.